week 3 of the fantasy football season. And here's a few running backs. I have his sleeper options this week. The first guy, Travis Homer of the Seattle Seahawks. So the Seahawks go back home in this ball game here in week 3. And last week, Homer, he got some work in that blowout loss to the San Francisco 49ers, where he had 2 carries, 9 yards, but 4 catches, 33 yards. So we know Rashard Penny isn't obviously a passing down running back or a guy who catches the ball out of the backfield. Then Kenneth Walker, still not 100%, even though we saw him get some work. So right now, if you're in true desperation and need a real sleeper option at running back, he's available in 99% of fantasy leagues. And I think he has a pretty decent matchup where he could catch 4 or 5 balls out of the backfield for 30 or 40 yards, and maybe getting a couple rush attempts as well as Homer. So deeper leagues, or if you're just all injured or whatever the case may be here, I have Homer as a sleeper this week. The next running back, McKinnon of the Kansas City Chiefs. So McKinnon, believe it or not, he was on the field for a decent amount in last week's ball game on Thursday Night Football versus the Los Angeles Chargers. And McKinnon, he actually found the end zone as well. So the first couple weeks for him, he's been serviceable in deeper leagues. 4 carries, 22 yards, 3 catches, 27 yards. Week 1 at Arizona. And then week 2 versus the Chargers, like I mentioned, 2 catches, 4 yards, and a touchdown, and 4 carries for 12 yards. So right here, I think he's going to be the passing downs back is Jarrett McKinnon. Now that's the role we've been seeing him in so far in the early going. And we know a few seasons ago, he had a big season, was McKinnon, but injuries have definitely been a problem for him here. And he's bounced around with the Vikings, 49ers, and now I think he's found a home. He is the number 2 guy in Kansas City. But to be honest, Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't get a big workload as well the first couple weeks, but he's been putting up fantasy numbers. So Jarrett McKinnon, definitely a guy to keep an eye on, especially if Edwards-Helaire goes down or something as a pickup. But right now is a sleeper option this week, available in 93% of fantasy leagues. It wouldn't be surprising to me to see McKinnon at Indianapolis have a decent ball game and put up serviceable numbers once again. In the third and final running back I have as a sleeper option this week, Dontrell Hilliard of the Tennessee Titans. So week 1, he had a great ball game versus the New York Giants. 3 catches, 61 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 8 rush yards on 2 attempts. Week 2, shot out of Buffalo. But week 3 here has a pretty decent matchup versus the Las Vegas Raiders, where I think in this one, if Derrick Henry, he don't run good, he's going to be in there on third downs. He's a pretty good receiver out of the backfield, Dontrell Hilliard. And we know this Tennessee offense, they need to get things going. Week 2 at Buffalo, they got the doors blown off, only scoring 7 points in that game. And I think Hilliard as a third down back and passing downs back could be pretty decent here for this Tennessee Titan team. We saw it in week 1. He added an element to the offense. And I think here in week 3, and pretty much almost a must-win game between these two teams, the Vegas Raiders 0-2 and the Titans 0-2. They're going to have Hilliard on there, even lining up in the slot at times, I think, because he's a guy that could go out there and make plays. And so far, Robert Woods and Treylon Burks haven't done anything. He's available right now in 82% of fantasy leagues. That's a few running backs I have as sleepers here for week 3 of the fantasy football season.